Hello, welcome back to the Messy Cook. Today I am going to show you how to preserve some vegetables. So I ended up getting 6 heads of broccoli from a local farmer for $10, which personally I think is a pretty good deal considering sometimes you're paying $5 a head. So that would have been $30 normally, so I got it for $10. So what I like to do is I wash it really well, and then I cut it up into the size of pieces that I want. So you can do big, large, small, really small. You can do them smaller than these, but whatever size you want. So this is about the average size that I use. So what I do with these, as you can see, I have a pot of water on the burner. I'm getting that to boil. So what I'm going to do, once you've washed all this up, is I soaked it overnight. You don't have to do that, but give it a really good wash and let it soak in some cold water for about an hour in case there's any creepy crawlies in there or whatever, or just yuckies or dirt or whatever. You want to give it a really good wash. When you're done, take it a rinse, and then just throw it in a bin or a big bowl or whatever you have. These bins I really like for when I'm doing canning and stuff, or if I'm doing preserving of some sort, because I tend to do a little bit larger batches, and this way it holds everything. So basically the process is cut it up, get your veggies ready. You can do this with broccoli, corn, which I'm going to do corn as well, so I'll show a video on that, or I might attach it to this video as well. Things like peas, so peas, corn, broccoli, cauliflower. It's not great for carrots. This would work really well for green beans. I tried asparagus, texture wasn't great, so don't do asparagus, but you can try whatever veggies you want. So the idea is, once it's all washed and whatnot and this water comes to a boil, I'm going to salt the water. I'm going to put a batch at a time in here, and I'm going to let that boil for about 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, probably 2. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put it in another bin and shock it in ice water, and I'll show you that when I get to that point. And then we're going to take it out. We're going to put it through a salad spinner to get all the water out, and then I'm going to bag it up and use my vacuum sealer to seal it up. I'm probably going to do, it's just the two of us here, so I'm probably going to do 2 cups. Corn, I generally do 1 cup because we eat about a half a cup a piece, so do whatever size works for you. So once this comes to a boil, I'll bring it back and we'll get this process started. So you're going to see I have a little bit of an assembly line set up here. I have the broccoli and on the left on the stove with the water that's coming to a boil. Here, I'll just move you over a little bit. To the left here, I have the bags that I'm going to use for Food Saver. Here we go. So these are the bags I use, and I can link them if you use a Food Saver. You can also use just a Ziploc and suck as much air out of there as you can, but the Food Saver will make it last longer. Obviously, my Food Saver, I have a salad spinner, and here I have a big bin with ice in it. So that's my ice water. You want super, super cold ice water. I used half a bag of ice there, so hopefully that will be enough, and if not, well, I can use the other half, but I'm doing the corn as well, so I'm hoping to stretch it out. So that's my line. So I think my water is just boiling, so we're going to come back to that in just a sec. Okay, so we're all set to go here. The water's boiling. I'm going to put in a big heaping tablespoon of coarse salt. You can use any salt you have, but I'm going to do coarse salt because that's what I've got on hand. And what that's going to do is keep the flavor of the broccoli tasting nice and fresh. It's also going to keep it nice and green. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this bowl, I'm going to take a good portion of this broccoli here. I don't want to do too much at a time, but this bowl size, maybe a third of what I have in this bin. So I can do it in 3 batches. There we go. And we're just going to pour this right in. Let's see here. There we go. So we're going to pour that in. I'm going to put my timer on. 1, 2. I'm going to do 2 minutes to start with, and we're going to see what that does. I have a big scooper spoon, I don't know what you want to call it, a strainer spoon, and I'm just going to make sure that goes underneath, and you're going to see how vibrant green that is already. That's what the salt does, so that's going to be nice. I'm also going to put the handle over there, and we're going to let that sit for about 2 minutes, and we'll come back at the 2-minute point, and I'll show you the next steps. Okay, so the timer just went off, and I actually did it for 3 minutes instead of 2. So this is what we've got here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop this out. So drain as much of that water off as we can. I'm going to pop it in the bowl. Make sure we get it all. And I'm going to let that water come back up to a boil. There we go. This is a perfect thing to do on a rainy day as it is here. It's August 2nd or Sunday, and it is super, super hot, but we are getting wicked rain, which is desperately needed. So I'm going to, that's the steam from my broccoli, and I'm going to come over and show you the next steps. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump that right into the ice water. And what we're doing here is we're shocking it. We're stopping the cooking process. We want that to get nice and cold. Super, super good. And then I'll just leave that literally for you. You can just feel it with your hands. Once it's cold, you're all set. That's more than icy enough. So I'm just going to use my hands. They're nice and clean. You can use a strainer spoon as well. Shake off as much water off of that as you can. Don't steal the ice cubes. There we go. And we're putting this in a salad spinner. And what this is going to do is I'm going to spin it like you do when you do your salad greens, or whatever else you use in your salad spinner, fruit, whatever, to wash it. And I am going to spin. So I'm going to get this moved over here. I don't have a lot of space in my kitchen, and I'm just going to give that a really good spin. You can see here, that's just pulling all the water out of there, which is what we want. You can see it's finishing there. Let me just put this here. So I'm going to check. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to take that water. No, I'm just going to add it back in there because it's cold anyhow. And I'm going to give this one more good spin. Oh, got a nice cube in there. Just one more good little turn around here. Just a couple quick turns. You can see that's just spinning around there and get any excess water out. I'm going to show you the next step in just a moment. If you want to stop it, just press that button and it stops it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab a bag here. I'll get a couple of bags. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in about what I think the two of us would eat in a meal. So probably about 2 cups. Let's see here. Maybe that's probably enough for the two of us. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to back up a little bit and get to the food saver and show you how we vacuum seal it. All right, so here we are at the vacuum sealer. Everybody has different ones, so whatever one works best for you. I like to kind of put this out in a bit of a layer so we're not squishing it too much. And we can see how much we have in there. For my one, this is just a food saver. I think it's like around $100, give or take, if you get it on sale at Canadian Tire. I'm going to pulse it. And when I get it where I want, I'm just going to hit the seal button. I just want all of that air out of there. So you can see all that air has come out. I'll show you up close when it's done. And I'm just waiting for the seal light to go off, and then I'm done. That's it. So it's fairly quick. The longest time really is the prepping of the vegetables, but it's a perfect thing to do on a rainy day. So you can't go wrong. So my seal lights come off. So I'm going to show you real quick. See, it makes it nice and vacuum sealed, nice and green. So when I want to cook this, all I have to do is take this out. I'm going to put it in the steamer basket or whatever, a steam pot if you have it. You can boil it as well if you like. But if you can steamer basket, literally you can steam it for about 5 minutes, if that, and it's cooked. You're set to go. So this is just like the bagged frozen broccoli you buy in the store. So make it yourself. Buy it when it's on sale. Look at your local farmer's market and find it when it's in season. It's in season right now in Southern Ontario. So I'm just going to write broccoli, and I'm going to write August the 2nd, 26. So I know what the date is, so I can keep these in my freezer, and then that's some veggies for a meal. So I'm just going to continue with all this broccoli, and I'll show you when I'm all done. And then we'll get to the corn, and I'll show you with that as well, the process I do. So I'm back, and I'm going to do the corn. So I've got Cranston's corn. It's some of the first of the season. I think it came out about a week ago, but we just picked this up yesterday and picked up 3 dozen. So I've kept 6 aside just for us for eating for now. I'm going to shuck all of this corn here and make sure all the strings are off. And I'm just going to put all the rest of it in my green bin. And basically that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to shuck it. I'm going to put it in this pan over here. Let me just turn you here a little bit. So I'm going to put it in the pan here. I should fill that with water, and I'm going to put it in the pan and let it soak while I'm shucking it all. And then I'm going to get to taking the actual corn off the cob. So I'm going to cut all these kernels off. of all of this lovely corn here. So we're going to get, well, I'm going to get to doing that, and I'll get to, when I get to the point to actually taking the corn off the cob, I'll show you what I do. All right, see you in a little while. Okay, so I've shucked all the corn. I have 40 cobs exactly, and I took 6 aside for just regular eating over the next couple days. And I'm going to show you what I do. So I've taken everything off, and you're going to notice on some of these, there's still some silk, little bits and pieces of silk here and there. So I don't really like that in my corn. It's not a big deal if you get a little bit. But I'm going to show you what I do. I have a nice clean cloth here. These are the rags that I told you about before you can get at Costco. I wet the corn and I rub down. That's it. That basically takes the majority of it off. Just give it a little wash, and then I'm going to put it to the bin to the side. So again, I kind of twist around the corn like so, push it through, twist around. Use my hands here, there. Let me get one that has a fair amount of, yeah, this one has. So you can see at the top here, somewhere around the edges, you know, it gets in there, right? So you can see that there. So I'll show you this around again. You're going to push it through. Oops. You want to make sure it basically goes, and you want to get the whole cob. There. I'm going to shake that off, and there you go. About one little tiny piece. You can't miss. You can't get it all, but you want to do the best of it. So basically, I got the worst of it off of there. So I'm going to continue doing that with all these cobs of corn. I'm going to put them in the bin on the side, and I'm going to show you how we get the cob, the niblets, or I don't know, bits of corn off there, the corn niblets off of the actual cob of corn. So I'll just continue to do these, and then we will come back and I'll show you that. So this corn took me about 15 minutes to shuck. I'm just doing it on my own today. It's going to be a good family thing to do. And this is early corn. I paid a little bit more than I probably would have normally paid for it, but that's, you know, I'm okay with it because it's still cheaper than what I get at the grocery store, and I know where it came from. I also know what it tastes like, and it's fabulous. Each of these cobs, generally, from past experiences, give me about half a cup of corn, which I look at as about a serving. So depending on how much you want to package up in each of your packs. For this, for 2 of us, I would package up 1 cup of the corn that I actually cut off, which equals out to be about 2 cobs of corn, which is usually what we eat. So I'm going to continue getting the silk off of this corn, and we'll come back when I'm ready to cut it off, and I'll show you how that works. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but from just doing that with the corn to get all of the silk off, this is basically everything I got off of it. So that's pretty good. A few cobs or little niblets of corn came off, but I'm not concerned about that. That's so much better off of there with the cloth than it is in my frozen corn packs. So I'm going to put these back in the sink. Just going to give it a quick wash. I'm going to put them back in the sink, and I'm going to show you how to get these all shucked off, and I'll get any other corn silk off as I go. Okay, so it's time to shuck the corn, or maybe not shuck the corn, it's time to get all the corn niblets off. So I did buy a corn shucking tool, and unfortunately it was supposed to be here today and did not arrive. And I don't want to wait because I don't want to waste the corn or have it go dry on me and, you know, chance soaking it overnight and just have it waterlogged. So what I do, you can do it either way. So I generally use a bundt pan. You don't have a bundt pan, use a plate. I would put a cloth on it if you're using just a plate. And you can do either end. I find just using this end is better because the corn kind of sits in there. And what I'm going to do, hopefully you can see this, I'm going to cut as close to the cob as possible and go all the way down like so. Let me see here. I'll do it on this side. It's a little awkward for me, but that's okay. We just want to get that cut down as close as we can to the cob. So I'm just going to do this whole one here and show you how much we get out of that. Now, some people save the cobs and do a corn cob jelly. I've never done that. I asked my husband what he thought, and he was like, so I don't think we're going to do that this year, but one of these years I might try that. If you've ever had it or made it, let me know what it's like. Let me know if it's worth a shot. Should I try it? Should I make it and do a video? Yeah, apparently it's quite sweet and turns a little bit pink, but we'll see. So that's the cob that we're done with. This is all the corn we got off of one cob. So that's almost a cup right there. So a little bit more and that would do a meal. So I'm going to continue with this. As I go along, I have another bin on the stove, like I had with the broccoli, that I'm going to put all this corn in. Once it's all done, we're going to get it blanched. I also have a pot on the stove. I'm just keeping it at a simmer right now. I brought it to the boil, so I'm just going to keep it at a simmer. And I'm just going to continue to cut this corn off the cob. Now with the shucking tool, I wish I had that, because basically it looks like a big spoon sort of, and basically what you do is you would take this here, it has sort of a sharp edge on it, and it's shaped sort of shaped like a dome shape, and it has a sharp edge, and you would just put that in and then slide right down and it should cut it off. So like I said, that's unfortunately not going to work because I don't have it yet. So if I do more corn later in the season, which when it's at its peak, it'll be much cheaper. I think I paid $11 per baker's dozen, which is $13, and I'm okay with that because it's amazing corn. It's still cheaper than what I'm going to buy, you know, at the grocery store in a bag of frozen corn. That just, I mean, you know, they do it, and it's not that it's a bad quality. And I prefer frozen corn over canned, and not a fan of the canned, but you know how fresh this is. You know where it came from, how much it was, how delicious it is. So anyhow, the other thing too I wanted to mention is some people will take the cob itself, they'll blanch them for 2 or 3 minutes, and then shock them in cold water and freeze them in bags. I tried it, wasn't a fan of the texture. It tasted too waterlogged for me, so this is why I cut it off. I just prefer it this way. So I'll come back when we're all ready to start blanching it. Okay, so I want to show you something that I kind of figured out along the way that actually is a little bit help, because I was just putting that corn cob in the center here, and what was happening was I was losing about an inch of the corn on the bottom. So what I'm doing is I changed to a serrated knife too. I find the serrated actually gets a little bit closer to the cob. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off into there, that bottom, as close to the cob as I can get, so you can see the end of the cob. Here, you're not going to lose. That fits in the bundt pan if you're using a bundt pan. And if you don't have a bundt pan, like I said, that's okay. I'm going to show you another way you can do it if you don't have a bundt pan. And then I just cut down. Like I said, I'm going as close to the cob as I can, and I'm finding that it's getting a little bit more with the serrated knife. So the corn cob pieces are a little bit bigger than it was with my other knife. So either way, just make sure your fingers are tucked back when you have, like so, when you're holding onto your corn, not cutting your fingers. Now I'm going to show you the last trick with the last cob of corn I have. I'm going to slide this over. If you don't have a bundt pan and all you have is a plate, use a bigger plate than I'm using, but you can use a cloth or a paper towel or whatever you want. This is my last cob here, so make sure we got that there. So see here, and you're just going to hold on to that cob, keep your fingers tucked back. Now, probably better to use a bigger plate, but go right as close to the cob as you can. My counters are clean, so I'm not overly concerned. It's a little bit going off of there. And the cloth is clean. That's the one I used to clean off the silk off the cobs earlier. But you can just do that and hold it against your plate, and then at the end, just trim off those couple pieces if you didn't get quite to the bottom. That is it. So that works perfectly like that. I'll just take that, dub it right on in with my corn. So I only found a couple of silk pieces, so that's not too bad. So I'm going to get kind of tidied up here, and we're going to get to blanching that corn. Okay, so I'm just getting set up here for doing the corn. I'm going to blanch in a few minutes. I'm just waiting for that water to come up to a boil. Now, these are big bags. They were great for the broccoli. These ones, I don't need quite as big a bag. So I'm actually going to cut them in half. This is, I don't know, I think this holds about 4 cups. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut a few of these bags in half. So just fold them in half like so, and then pull up and cut across the top. Because with the corn, I have one bag there. And then with your vacuum sealer, you're not vacuuming it, you just want to actually seal it. So I'm going to close that and press a seal, and it's going to give me a little seal on the bottom there. So basically, I'm only going to put about a cup measure of the corn in each bag. So I probably have, I'll show you in a minute. I probably have like 24 cups, something like that, 24 cups at least. I have quite a bit. So so that's all sealed. So see, now we have another bag. So these are the 2 bags I got out of one. So that's going to be perfect. So I'm going to do that and seal a bunch of these. I'll probably do about 10 bags to start with, and just to be safe. And then as soon as we're ready, I'll show you the blanch and how to seal these back up when we're all done. Okay, so water's boiling. I've got a bunch of bags ready to go. I don't know if I have enough, but that's okay. I'm going to put another heaping tablespoon of water, or sorry, salt in the water here. I used fresh water. I didn't want to use the same water as the broccoli because there'll be broccoli bits in there, and if someone's allergic to broccoli and I'm making corn, well, that's not going to work. So I'm just going to take a big scoop here. I'm going to put a couple of these big scoops in, maybe 2 or 3. Let's start with 2. I don't want to do too many to start with. There, we're going to put 2 of those scoops in. I'm going to put the time. I'm going to do 2 minutes on these for sure, because the broccoli's a little bit larger, and corn kernels are much smaller. So literally, again, the salt is just for a little bit of flavor. It also keeps that pretty yellow brightness on the peaches and cream. You can see that already. So we're just going to let that sit there and boil for 2 minutes, and we'll come back and I'll get to the next step again. Okay, so 2 minutes has gone by. I've put the corn in and I've had 2 minutes go by, and I'm just skimming the stuff off the top here. Actually, let's see here. Give this a stir. So remember, a big tablespoon of salt, and I'm going to strain this out into this bowl here. Rest that there. And so put in as much as you want, however your pot allows. I do it in, a few batches just to get it out of the way. Now see this, all this stuff here? Oops, I set that down. Hold on. Ooh, we've got spots here. Okay, so all this stuff here is a little bit of husks. We don't want that because it's kind of yucky when it's stuck in your teeth. So I'm just going to tap that out in the sink just to get rid of it, because it's just part of the cob. Like if you get too close to the cob and you're not getting the whole kernel, you get those bits and pieces. There might be a bit in your corn, but it's not going to be an awful lot. And when you boil it to eat it, you basically, there we go. See, the cobs actually, or the kernels actually come out, and the rest of that stuff stays in there. So I get rid of that. I'm going to do one more good swipe here. There we go, or maybe a second one. There we go. And the last one. There we go. Now you might think, oh, this is a lot of work, is this really worth it? Honestly, it is, because when December comes around and you can't get fresh corn, you can remember, ooh, I have that lovely corn that I froze in the summertime. When you eat that, it tastes like you're eating it right off the cob. So I'm going to put another one in here. We're going to come over and we're going to get to shocking it in the ice water and getting it packaged up. Okay, so I've got some in there already. And I'll just add in the rest in. Just gonna rinse that bowl out. I'm gonna give it a swirl around. Remember, the ice water is to stop the cooking. We want that corn to get cold. If you need to add more ice as you go along, feel free to do that. I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute. We'll add some more corn in to my pot, and we're gonna let that chill. All right, so I have my last batch of corn in. I'll put my timer on for 2 minutes. And do that there. Now I've taken the first batch out and put it in here, and we just want to spin it in the salad spinner. Put that away there. And I'm just going to stop it because I did spin it once. And basically this is what we've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just dump that cold water in there. And I think what I'm going to do is just put everything in one big container, and then I can package it from there. So I can continue to spin all of this. So there we go. I'm going to show you how I package this up. Excuse me here while I lean in front. I'm going to get my 1 cup measure out of my cupboard. I'm going to take 1 cup of this corn, literally scoop 1 cup. I'm going to pop it in the bag like so. Flatten it a little bit. I'm going to put it in my food saver, or like I said, if you don't have a food saver, just do these in Ziplocs. Put it and seal it as much as you can with a straw on the side of the bag and suck the air out. Got it? That's it. I'm going to let that seal, and as soon as that light goes off, we know it's all set to go. So let's see how that comes off, and I can show you. And then what I'll do is continue doing these, and I'll show you everything that I got out of the broccoli and the corn when I'm all done. Just waiting for this light to go off. And trust me, this is worth the investment. You can buy the bags for these online, and like I said earlier, I will link them. So that's 1 cup of corn, which is a meal for me and my husband, so it's a little bit of each. If you like more, do more. If you have a larger family, half a cup of corn per serving is usually pretty good, unless you want to eat more. When you want to cook this, you're going to take it, you're going to put it in a pot from frozen, cover it with some water, put it on your stove, and you're going to simmer it for about 5 minutes, not even 3 to 5 minutes, just till it's heated through and it's ready to go, and it tastes like you just ate it off the cob. So I'm going to continue with this, and I'll show you when we get to the end how much I got out of everything. Okay, so we are all done for today. So I ended up with 8 bags of broccoli, and these are about 2 cups a piece. They're partly frozen. I just took them out just to show you. So we got 8 packages of broccoli. I got 21 packages of tiny bit over a cup of corn. So that's all of them right there. And I did 1 big one. So, sorry, 20. And I had said earlier in the video when I was shucking the corn, I had 40 cobs. It was 40 cobs, but I put 6 aside. So this is 34 cobs of corn here. And that's going to do us 20 meals or 21. So yeah, anyhow, I am really thankful that you joined me today. I do hope you try this. Again, if you want to reheat the corn, just put it in a pot covered in water and cook it for about 3 to 5 minutes. And the broccoli, literally steam 3 to 5 minutes till you get the texture you want. Or the tenderness you want, and you're all set. So don't forget to join the channel if you haven't already. If you've come across my page, I have lots and lots of different items on there that I make. Please don't forget to like and hit that little reminder button so you get a notification every time I do a video. So thanks again for joining us here at The Messy Cook, and we'll see you again soon with something new. Take care.